Hey kids, this is Grandmaster Ben Finegold once again here with Kid Chess. And I want to show you one of my favorite games. It's a game from Bobby Fischer, the American world champion, against the Mongolian Grandmaster. I can't pronounce his first name or his second name, so you know he's a good player. Okay, that's what I always say anyway. Now, they played a French defense. Fischer didn't like facing the French defense very much. He tried to play his own way. He had sort of his own variations. So instead of playing d4, he played something called the King's Indian attack. The King's Indian defense is something black plays. This is the King's Indian defense attack. I think I got that reversed. The defense is what black plays. This is the King's Indian attack. That's what white plays. And that starts with the move d3. He's going to defend his d-pawn, and his e-pawn, I should say. And instead of getting his bishop out the normal way, he's going to fianchetto his bishop on the side and start an attack. Okay, knight d2, defending the pawn some more. And then he fianchettos his bishop, like I said. Okay, and this kind of position here, usually we see black playing with this kind of king's fianchetto. That's called the King's Indian defense. So when white does it, it's an attack. White gets to go first. Now, I really like this game, especially to show my students and my classes, because both sides advance on their sides of the board and get exactly what they want. So it's a real battle of ideas. White gets a big king side attack, and black gets everything and more on the queen side, getting past pawns and winning material. And as Fischer liked to say, the king is more important. So if you're checkmating your opponent and they're promoting a pawn and winning material, then the checkmate should win. That's what Fischer felt. So he liked to have white in these positions. Okay, so let's have a look. Not super interesting to start, but it gets really interesting now. Fischer plays the move e5, attacking the knight. You can't take the pawn because it's defended, so the knight moves away. And now, this idea started with Bobby Fischer, and a lot of grandmasters play it today. And that idea is rook e1, defending his pawn, and this vacates the f1 square for his knight. You can see the knight doesn't really have any squares to go to, but it can go to f1. And once it goes to f1, Fischer has further ideas to get the knight active. So we'll see that. He defends his pawn, and black starts playing on the queen side, because black has all this space there. And white plays on the king side, as I said. He plays h4. This is a key idea. The knight's going to go to h2. The knight's going to go to g4. And white has the g5 square for his bishop and knight. So all these pieces and pawns are going to be up near black's king. Very exciting. a5. Black's winning on the queen side. White's winning on the king side. Bishop f4. Defending his e-pawn again. Getting his bishop out. a4. And now Fischer was like, man, this guy's moving all of his pawns up here. That's not very nice. So Fischer played the move a3 just to stop him. He's like, stop moving your pawns. Let's calm down over there. And then when we're calm, then I'll mate you. Okay, a3 is fine. He took on a3. Maybe not the best move, but it's okay. Okay, so Fischer stopped him on the queen side. Black's not getting all of his pawns down. And he's going to sort of stop the damage over there. Okay, knight a5. Not a great move. Probably one of the few bad moves that black played in this game. Knight e3. Instead of going to h2, you can go to e3 now. Either one's good. Bishop a6. Bishop h3. You can see white's piling up the pressure on the king side, moving over there, and black's putting everything he's got on the queen side. Okay, and he keeps going on the queen side with d4. The knight goes back to f1. He likes the d2 square, because it controls a lot of squares. Knight b6. Black puts all of his pieces on the queen side. Knight g5. Here comes the attack. Knight d5. And the chess computer says this is about equal. This is a reasonable position. He doesn't want his bishop to get captured, so he goes back. And now another move, which may not be the best, but it's okay. He takes one of the attacking pieces. Bishop takes knight. Bishop takes, attacking the queen. Queen d7. Queen h5. It's getting scary. White's pieces are getting near black's king. The computer still says everything is fine. Everything's okay. Rook c8. He wants to advance his pawn. c4. Knight d2. Knight c3. And in this position, Fischer made a brilliant move, and it actually is one of the few moves that makes knight c3 not a good move. The knight on d5 is controlling some of the kingside squares, but black didn't think that was important. Black thought it was more important that he attack on the queen side. The chess computer just plays c4, continuing the attack on the queen side, and says it's about equal. But instead, after knight c3, Fischer surprised his opponent with a sacrifice. Fischer said, wait a minute, all your pieces are on the queen side. You can't do that. Your king's over here. You can't put all your pieces on the queen side. I got some pieces on the king side. You can't just move over there. So Fischer played correctly with the sacrifice bishop f6. Now, if you don't take that bishop, I'm going to go queen g5 and checkmate you. Okay? If you do take that bishop, which he did not do, and then I take back, now I'm threatening queen check, and the checkmates are coming. And if you play king here with the idea of playing rook g8, so the queen doesn't go to g7, now we have more than one way to win. The easy way to win is knight f3, knight g5, knight e5. The cool way to win, the really exciting way, is bishop f5, threatening checkmate. You have to take it. Now the e-pawn's not there. Rook e7, attacking the queen. So black either gives away his queen or he saves his queen, but he doesn't save his king. Threatening queen takes checkmate, rook g7, and you're going to lose your queen. You can't move your queen. You'll get checkmated on h7. Okay, too much attack. Not good defense over here. Not good. Okay, so after bishop f6, black actually played the correct move. Queen e8. Didn't take the bishop. And also, he knew Fischer wanted to play queen g5, queen g7, so he's going to play queen f8 and defend that. Okay. Fischer gets another piece into the attack. He plays knight e4. Okay, here comes the knight to g5. And if you take with the knight, the rook takes and comes into the attack. So he played g6 attacking the queen. If the queen goes to h6 threatening mate, then we play queen f8 and black tries to trade queens. If he trades queens, then he won't get checkmated. Fischer didn't want to trade queens, so Fischer played queen g5. Knight takes e4, rook takes e4. Here comes black, c4. Here comes white, h5. Here comes black, c takes d3. Here comes white, rook h4. So both sides got what they want. White has a mating attack, and black is crashing through on the queen side. Now here, black had a really ingenious defense. It's actually the best defense, but still doesn't work. Played the move rook a7 on the other side of the board. And his idea is, if you take this with the idea of checkmate, white wins. Black takes with the f pawn, and now the rook is defending the h pawn. Pretty good defense. Excellent defense by black. Okay, so Fischer said, this doesn't work, nothing's working. I need one more piece to attack. So he played bishop to g2, so the bishop could come in here and attack. Okay, excellent. And there's nothing black can do about this attack, so black figured he would keep winning on the queen side. D takes c2, black's ready to queen, black's got all these passed pawns, black's knight's coming in, black's bishop is pretty good, black's up a couple of pawns. All right, Fischer plays queen h6, threatening queen g7 mate. There's only one defense, queen f8. And now we see why Fischer played bishop to g2. White has forced checkmate here. It's not easy to find. Well, easy for Bobby Fischer, maybe not easy for us. So maybe you want to pause the video here and see if you find the forced checkmate that Fischer found. Did you find it? The reason Fischer played bishop g2 previously was so now he could sacrifice his queen. And after sacrificing his queen, his opponent realized where the checkmate was. You have to take it. Now you have double check. The king's in check by two pieces. Well, you can play king here and get checkmated. Or you can walk your king up the board. And finally, we see the reason for bishop g2. When the bishop was on h3, white doesn't have anything here. But with the bishop on g2, checkmate. Bishop e4, checkmate. That's why Fischer played bishop g2, so he could sacrifice his queen and then play bishop e4 mate. Just before black queens his pawn. Good timing. So in that game, both sides did what they wanted to do. They won on their respective sides on the board, but Fischer sacrificed his queen and checkmated his opponent. Checkmate, as Fischer would say, is more important than winning on the queen side. That's one of Fischer's most famous games, sacrificing a queen for checkmate, using all of his pieces to attack, making his opponent's king walk up the board. A brilliant game. Hope you enjoyed that game as much as I did. I'm Grandmaster Ben Finegold, here with Kid Chess. Bye, kids.